What's up everyone, John from ARTV. It's time to take a look at the debut album by indie and alternative pop band Flor. Their debut album is called Come Out, You're Hiding. They've dropped a couple of singles over the past 6 months or so. I had heard a few and I wasn't that excited at first, but I heard the track Guarded, saw the music video that went along with it, and I honestly really liked it. It definitely does seem like it's catering to that very almost like vintage, hipster aesthetic, but at the same time, I like their singer's voice. I kind of gravitate towards it. It's a very mellow tune, and I like that about this record in general. There's a fun and welcoming feel, just almost a feeling of wanderlust that a soul is trying to capture through this record, and I like where the lyrics are taking us. It's kind of a journey, if you will, through emotions, through travels, and through life in general, and I like the outcome that we get as a whole. So some of these tracks are definitely more memorable than others, and if I had to describe the sound kind of quickly just to sum it up, I'd say there's generally some light-toned guitars, some synthesizers that work their way in, and some surprisingly great drumming. One of the biggest standouts for me is the drum patterns throughout this record. Even though a lot of this music definitely leans towards more of a pop and indie and almost electronic atmosphere, I feel like those drums are definitely more from the rock realm or the alternative. And I like that. So they'd show up in big theatrical form on some of these tracks, and we're gonna get to one moment that I absolutely love in just a minute, but just know overall, the drumming on this record is surprisingly good. So for all of you drum fanatics out there looking for something a little bit more than just the run-of-the-mill, you know, drum machines and everything like that that you're seeing in your alternative and pop music these days, it stands out. I feel like some of the bass lines do get lost here. I see them pop up as little things here and there, but they never really take shape or form, and that's one complaint that I would say that I generally have with the record. But overall, I think the sunshiny and almost welcoming, like I said, feel of the tunes kind of win me over from thinking about that in the long run. Unfortunately, there are a handful of songs that I just don't care for as much. The first of those would probably be Back Again. It comes in the middle of this album, and the songs that I do have a problem with on this record are generally the ones that are a little bit too monotone. They don't really do anything other than flatline. They stick to the plan, and I feel like this record's plan kind of is, okay, we're gonna channel this kind of indie hipster type vibe, which I'm not using as a criticism here. It's just a certain type of sound. It sounds like something that you would hear at Urban Outfitters. If you're shopping there and it comes up on the soundtrack, you're not gonna be surprised at all. It fits that theme. It's quiet, almost kind of whispery vocals in places. They're just very soothing. It's not like he's buried in the mix, but a soothing voice at that. And whenever that soothing voice is just relaying the same old messages that you've already heard throughout the record, but the music just isn't there to back it up, that's when these tracks kind of fall on their face. And not to say anything tanks too hard here, but I definitely feel like Back Again is probably the worst song for me. And in terms of the most just uninteresting, one that doesn't do anything to branch out their sound whatsoever and plays it safe, I would say that Restless Soul unfortunately falls there as well. The guitars here are very, very predictable. In fact, they kind of sound similar to a few other things that they tried here. It reminds me of their own tracks like Heart and Warm Blood that came towards the beginning of this record, but unfortunately those did it a whole lot better. Things go much better on Come Out You're Hiding whenever they go for a feeling of adventure, like on Warm Blood, for example. That's one that I really just see having these shining synthesizers, a very glossy and catchy chorus. It's followed right after by Heart, and then one of the most catchy songs I've heard all year, one that instantly got stuck in my brain. In fact, it's still one of the easiest ones for me to just pull out of this track listing and say, yes, this is a standout moment. Where Do You Go? This is a song that has a great guitar structure to it. I love how simplistic, but at the same time catchy and effective it is. It definitely channels some of the other vibes that they went for on this record, but a culmination of all of the things that I like about Flor. Now, I mentioned at the start of the review, Guarded, one of the first songs that I liked by Flor, and this one definitely comes through with another chorus that sticks. It has kind of a floating vibe in the intro of the song, something that feels loose, relatable, and almost kind of ready for spring and summer, so I definitely think this can be kind of a mood record. I love the melodies on two of the singles that they released. Overbehind, which is the closing track here. Once again, kind of simplistic, but it definitely builds on its initial idea and gets a lot better as it goes on. And then Hold On, which I do believe was the lead single from this album. I really like this one a whole lot. It definitely has charisma and charm to it. I don't know why I kind of dismissed it and shook it off the first time I heard it. honestly, but after probably like 4 or 5 listens, just here and there over the months leading up to the record, I was really starting to get into it. It's one of those songs that totally grows on you, and I feel like Flor might grow on you as well. Now, for anyone who are looking for something a little bit more rocking, I mentioned a little bit earlier that I had one song in particular that I really had to praise. This one stands tall, and it's really, I think, the only song that I have not mentioned up to this point. I saved the best for last. This track is track number 9, and it is called Spoiled. This one, I don't even know how to describe it. It is epic, it's bombastic, and it's a song from Flor. I want to see more of this. I want to see more of the theatrical drums. I want to see more of the big build-ups. I want to see a combination of rock and synthesizers, because here it sounds great. It sounds like they are taking a step forward. It sounds like they're almost bigger than themselves on this tune. And I could imagine seeing this one live. It would be incredible. This is a song that starts off with some kind of churning synth, a slow worked in guitar. The vocals on it are definitely different, almost a little bit eerie on this one. And as the song grows, we see a swell from the guitars, and the vocals get a little bit more intense and confident as well. I think the lyrical content here is a little bit more varied, and I like the subject matter. There's a few songs that I think are very, very clever, like Unsaid, for example, basically talking about things that you hold back, and I don't know, there's other subjects here that I feel like get covered but just aren't talked about as often in pop or alternative music, so I do enjoy that. And on Spoiled here, they bring something else to the table, and if you look into the lyrical content, you can see that there's kind of an interesting and darker story, a darker tone going on as well. And then as those guitars start to roar around the 3-minute mark, you think the song is closing out. You think that's it, but this song is actually almost 5 minutes long, and I love that they broke the mold here. In fact, they push us over the top, send this song over the moon with these rocketing drums. There's a big pause, and then the synthesizers kick back in, and the drums start to slam. I love it. I can headbang to a moment like this and just say yes out loud because it sounds so good. And then there's like a big dramatic pause once again, and it kind of slides. The synths explode again with the drums. It's just a big, chaotic, noisy outro from Flor that totally caught me off guard, but definitely going down as probably in my top 20 songs of the year so far. Sadly, not everything is as memorable as Spoiled, but I do like this project quite a bit. Come Out Your Hiding definitely does have some replay factor to it. There's some songs that definitely stand out more than others. Favorites and least favorites for me personally are going to be in the description down below, along with a link to stream the record over on Spotify. I'm going to give Flor's debut album, Come Out Your Hiding, a 3.5. Don't forget to leave a like on the video and check out Flor if you haven't already. Seriously, a pretty cool band that definitely deserve you to go at least spin the record once. Let me know your thoughts on it in the comment section down below. Check out my Patreon page right over here and support if you're able to, and a couple of recent reviews you can get to by clicking the links right below me. All of my socials are found in the description down below, and I'll see you very soon right here on ARTV.